Yeah, I mean, who is that going to be? The rainbow elephant in the room. Tadej Pogačar is returning for the first time since 2023. His only victory of this race as well. Only his second appearance that time as well. Yeah, what can we not say about him? His results kind of speak for themselves. Paris-Roubaix debutant and finishing second. That was a really good race. We covered it in the recap, the Tour of Flanders as well. Winning that, Strade Bianche, dominating that. And that's just the one-day races. There's also the UAE Tour. But yeah, Patrick, I can't see past Tadej Pogačar with this form. It is different terrain. Maybe he's more like cobblestones. I can't think about like going uphill with no cobblestones.
Yeah, maybe he's just so used to the cobblestones now that tarmac is just really weird. It's possible. It's a joke, by the way. Pogačar is, like you say, it's super hard to look past him. He's backed up at the moment. Also, thank you, Amstel Gold Race, for having such a detailed provisional start list already. Like, thank you. Can other races take note, please? Pogačar arrives with Jan Christen, who is racing for the first time since he crashed in the Phone Ardèche Classic, I want to say. Felix Gorshak, Brandon McNulty, Narvaez, Novak, and Sivakov. It's a super strong squad. I don't really see any chinks in the armour here. I think that Pogačar's just on absolutely sublime form at the moment. And I think you're right. Do you just end the preview here? Is that it? Is it?
I mean, there is so much of Underpole, so his arch rival is
exactly.
Here.
Like who? Yeah, it's like I look around and I see other really good riders, but at the end of the day, when Poggy decides to go, and he's gonna, it's gonna be an attritional race, and then in that last hour when he just decides to really just go full gas, it's gonna be unbelievably difficult to follow him. I mean, Pidcock, admirably tried to do it in Strade Bianche, but ended up getting burnt. Maybe you see Pidcock trying to do it, but realistically, I'm not sure who else in this field really can follow Pogačar. At the end of the day, he's the big favourite for this race. And barring absolute calamity, he's probably going to win it.
Is he the greatest ever rider we've seen? Because a lot of murmurs have been talking about that he has actually rivaled Eddie Merckx to some extent because of age, harder era, specialization. There was more racing being done. He's doing like 50, 60 days of racing a year, and equaling or sometimes besting Eddie Merckx's yearly total.
I think, given that I wasn't around in the Merckx era, Pogačar is the best rider I've ever seen. I think I can pretty safely say that in terms of his completeness and his ability to do well over multiple terrain. Pogačar is quite easily the best rider I have ever seen. I'm trying to think of other riders who have come, close. I guess, Van der Poel's very impressive. And, some of the great Grand Tour riders, which we've seen, like Froome and Contador, but these guys just weren't as good as Pogačar over multiple terrains. So, yeah, I guess Pogačar sort of is the best rider which we've ever seen. I think people will, fight for Eddie Merckx' corner to their death to say that he is still the best. And I'm not saying that Merckx is, terrible or washed or whatever. Just, he was super good. And he is an absolute icon of the sport. But I think that we are witnessing a modern day equivalent.
Yeah, in the modern era, Contador never really, I can't think of seeing him at any one day race really. Maybe Lombardia or like the World Championships. Nibali is probably the one who is the closest in like a Pogačar sense. Milan-San Remo winner, did go to Tour of Flanders, didn't win it obviously. Was in Strade, I think, as well. So, and he won all 3 Grand Tours. So, but still, Tadej Pogačar is kind of upped it to level 10,000 in a way, being so dominant. I mean, that Paris-Roubaix performance following Mathieu Van der Poel in your first ever edition is just mind-blowing. The bike handling you need, the engine you need, all these extra things. You're riding toe-to-toe with a cyclocross multiple world champion, the greatest ever cyclocross rider. So I think it's just crazy. It's ridiculous to see. And we just have to appreciate it for how long it lasts in a way. Anyway, Amstel Gold, that's what we're talking about. So who's going to be beating this greatest ever rider that we were talking about? You mentioned Tom Pidcock. Actually has a funny record in this race. I don't know if you've noticed this. You mentioned it earlier. He's finished on every single step of the podium in Amstel Gold. Because last year, obviously, he was winning. He's been third as well. That 2021. Oh, did he win it? Did he come second? He came second in the history books. Obviously, you being from Yorkshire, you're going to be biased on that front. Yeah, Q36.5. Good season so far. Is he going to continue this? He was quite good at Tirreno Adriatico, finishing sixth there. But yeah, how do you see his chances?
I think his chances are pretty good. Like I say, he's had a very good year, very consistent, and I think he's got a whole team around him that obviously fully dedicated to him. There's no sort of wacky co-leadership going on, and I quite like to see that. Whenever I see co-leadership, I'm like, oh boy, here we go again. Who's it going to be? Somebody's going to end up disappointed. It's like, it's all in. It's all in on one man. And he does have a number one on his back, obviously, as the defending champion. So I think Pidcock's got a great shot, honestly, well, winning, I don't really know, but he has had a good year. And like you say, Tirreno was good. That second in Strade Bianche has been consistent in the stage races he's done. San Remo, he got caught behind a crash or in a crash. I can't remember exactly which one it was. At the base of a Cipressa, which sort of put him out of a race. Who knows what he might have been able to do otherwise. So maybe can't read too much into that 40th place at San Remo. And yeah, Pidcock just does well in this race. Like you say, the fact that he's finished first, second and third in this race is clearly a race which suits him. Those short, sharp efforts on steep bergs is just very suited to Pidcock, because it's essentially what like Yorkshire's made of, pretty much. It's just lots of these little bergs. You know, that is just absolutely quintessential Yorkshire riding. It's what Pidcock's grown up on, and it's what he's good at. So I think he's got a good shot of contesting for the podium.
Bring back the Tour de Yorkshire. Who said that? But yeah, Pidcock, interesting to say the least. If we look at the podium last year, we had Pidcock winning, Mark Hirschi second, and third for Thies Benoot. The two riders at the top have changed to pro-continental teams, which is quite funny. But Visma Lease Bike, let's talk about them. They have a former champion as well, Wout van Aert. Thies Benoot, third place last year. Wout, good in Tour of Flanders, good in Paris-Roubaix. It's a different finish to when he won it, so I don't know if that's going to play against him. He is like an incredibly versatile rider, but I wouldn't call him a puncher. I wouldn't call him that kind of rider who can hang with, yeah, let's say Pidcock does an attack up the Cowberg or Tadej Pogacar. I don't see Wout being able to hold the wheel for that long.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Paris-Roubaix, we were saying this suits Wout more, and he still did good. I mean, he finished in fourth place, and that's not saying that's bad. That's still a really good result.
Didn't he crash as well?
He crashed earlier on in Roubaix, yeah. But you could also say the rest of his race was very free of incident. Like, he didn't have any punctures or anything as far as I'm aware. So
any bottles thrown at him?
Yeah, I didn't know. No, he didn't have a Visma Lease Bike bottle thrown at him. That would have been really ironic, wouldn't it? The point being, Wout, even on the terrain which suited him better in theory in Roubaix, finished fourth. And, you know, that's behind Pogacar, who in theory wasn't massively suited to Roubaix. So therefore, I just don't see how over multiple kind of short, sharp efforts where Wout seemed to struggle in Flanders on those absolute, you know, all-out, basically sprint efforts up the bergs of Flanders. I just don't see how that's going to be necessarily any better in Amstel. I put him as a podium candidate. Obviously, it kind of depends what kind of a race scenario is, and I think it's going to require him to be in like a very small group, essentially, of climbers who absolutely can't sprint at all. But I think Wout is still a podium candidate. He seems to be getting better. He's obviously doing Brabant-Sipel on Wednesday, and just saying, we are recording this before Brabant-Sipel, so we don't know what the result of that race is. If Wout van Aert crashes in there, forget everything that we've just said over the last few minutes.